Hi, welcome to my eclectic channel. My name is Agnes and I make videos for fun. We've been working on turning an old pair of jeans into a midi-length jean skirt.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon.
We've been doing some cutting and seam ripping, and we're working on the back center seam of the skirt. I have marked where I want to stitch the back of the skirt, and now I need to trim off the excess fabric. At the waist, there's really nothing I want to take out. Like right now, I have a 2 centimeter seam allowance. I'll keep that. It will allow me in the future to maybe seam rip and make that seam allowance a tad bit bigger. Maybe I can increase at the waist by 2 centimeters, which is something in case I need that. But elsewhere, I'm going to trim it down to a smaller seam allowance because I don't want this flapping around. Right now, I'll do a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Next, I'm going to overlock each of the layers separately because we're going to be doing a flat seam back there. That is not how seams are normally done. There's a fancy seam on the jeans, which I think they did here. They had that in the front of the legs where we cut. This was a felled seam, I think it's called. And it's kind of bulky, but it gives this nice typical finishing you have on the jean seams. This kind of double stitching and the stitching and bulk that happens. So that's one way of doing a seam. On the side of the jeans, they kind of cut corners or use a different way. They did just a regular serge seam. So they stitched and then they took both layers together and they serged. What I want to do in the back is to do a flat seam. So I will be making the seam and then press it flat. And so I want each edge to be overlocked, or you could use a serger separately. The reason I'm doing this is because, again, I'm coming back to being able to alter at the waist more easily. And if you have a flat seam, it makes it easier to do that. I also like the idea of having less bulk at the waist. Now that I've overlocked the raw edges, I am going to stitch the back. I'm trying to get the waistband out of the way because we're not working on that yet. And yeah, this is what we have going on in the back. Isn't that the ugliest stitch work you've ever seen? I want my seam to go in between the pockets, not on top of one of them. Goody. Alright, I've repinned everything, lining up my pockets better. Hopefully nothing shifts. Back seam, take 2. Back seam is stitched. I'm going to do a fitting and see how it's working so far. It turns out it's very difficult to get pockets to line up on jeans. Especially here, since they're so close together, the most minute mistake shows. But I live with it. So around the waist, again I have to finish the waistband, but around the waist and down to my hips, the fit is good. But let me show you what's happening further down. Further down, we've got some art going on. It's like a late 19th century style faux cul, except it's completely in the wrong spot. Yeah, so I need to work on that some more. I wish I had a form where I could put my skirt on and drape it, but I don't, it's just me. In the front, I will have a slit, but I think it'll be good. I'll just follow the natural, I'll just follow what the jeans want to do. So I pinned best I could in the back of me in front of the mirror. So it kind of looks wonky. I got 3 pins here, but they give me a guide. Looking at it now, I think it's obvious why I had this weird bump, like at the level of my knees. Look at this curve. Like that is not how a skirt is supposed to fall in the back. So I kind of should have known. One thing that I'm going to lose is all of my overlocking. So all of that thread. Overlocking didn't take long. It's the easiest thing to do, but the thread is lost. So it's kind of a shame. So I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to overlock. What I'll do, well, first of all, of course, I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to stitch and do another fitting. And then if that looks good, then I will trim and overlock again. So now my 2 layers will already be attached. And there's a way to do it. You can feed each side through the machine separately. But it's kind of cumbersome, and there's a risk of catching both layers, which I always dislike. So I tried this method here, but that did not work. So I'll follow a curvature where my pins are, and then from there I'm going to continue on a straight line and hope that that works. This has a shot at being right. I'll go ahead and stitch. I did a fitting and it's looking as good as it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess and overlock everything again. So like I said, this is not ideal when you get 2 layers and I don't want them to be overlocked together. I have to open it and keep that top layer out of the way as I feed to the machine. Not a huge deal, just a little cumbersome. Next time, we'll work on reconstructing the waistband. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like.